What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another solo leveling Arise video. Welcome to a Sunday edition. I want to first off thank you guys for all the love and support over the merchandise. Many of you guys have reached out and a lot of you guys have actually purchased, and I want to thank everyone who has actually supported. This is a very exciting thing. Remember, these are limited time. I'm not going to ever be doing this again. This is 150 shirts, 50 t-shirts, 50 crew necks, 50 hoodies, and DM me if you're interested at all. I am currently wearing the sweater on my body right now. This is a large, so if you guys are interested, there's limited quantities left in different sizes. I'm not going to be doing this ever again. I just want to make this a one-time bucket list thing for myself that I actually have my own merch out, and they will be signed and shipped out. So DM me for pricing, let me know where you live, and I'll give you guys all the deets. Now, in this video, going past that part, I do want to talk a little bit about the best supports for each different element. A lot of you guys have been reaching out asking me, hey Payne, you did a video a long time ago about the best supports. Can you please cover who are the best supports now and why? So I'm going to go ahead and do that and cover the best supports for JINWOO, going by each element, and we're going to talk about each one and why they are categorized as the best support for that unit, specifically JINWOO in this case, right? So let's start off with the easiest one. This is pretty straightforward. There's really not much here that you need to worry about. Now, I'll go to the draw here just so you guys are aware. This is my free-to-play account. I didn't log into my pay-to-win. Just so everybody sees that I'm not missing any units here that I might have missed out on. But if I go, like, let's just say here, for example, for fire, right? We know there's 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Yeah, fire is struggling the most, guys. Fire has the least amount of useful units when it comes down to it, and unfortunately, that doesn't bode well for support. Now, there are 2 obviously pretty damn good units for support. 3 technically if you want to add it in. So let's just go over each one. So choice support is pretty straightforward. He does decrease defense down effect, so he actually is pretty useful at 15%. So if you are looking to have somebody who deals burn plus decreased defense, I would probably say he's probably the best out of all 3 of them, in my opinion, personally, only because if Shadow Step is down, or if you don't have another skill that you currently can use. This does stack with Bloodlust as well, so having that defense down is actually a pretty damn good one, plus the burn to add a little extra damage. So I would find him probably to be the most important of the fire supports. Yuseyun is not bad. She does give defense penetration increase, and she also increases damage equal to 16% of his defense and penetration as well too. So this is not a bad one. Unfortunately, defense pen hasn't really been as powerful as I expected it to be. Crit damage just outdoes it every single time, but still not a bad option. And then of course there's Emma here, which Emma does give you a little bit of bonuses here. She does give you the same level of buffs when it comes down to defense penetration. It is a little bit lower, obviously you're looking at double the defense penetration for Yuseyun, but Emma does give you a little bit more, right? She will give you guys the defense up, she gives you guys recovery of HP, defense penetration, and fire damage increase. So I find Emma to be a little bit more important. So I would say Choi first, Emma second, Yuseyun third, and then this dude, I would just not even bother. I would not even bother. Yeah. Song Shield is horrible. So 1 for sure, 2, 3, my opinion on the take. There's really not huge amounts of buffs here, so I would say probably the weakest in the fire elements would be those guys, but I would definitely take Choi out of all 3 of those for that defense down and burn, and then Emma second, and then Yuseyun third. Okay, let's go over to water. Water now has a lot of actual bonuses and privileges that you guys can get. Now, obviously the most important 2 here are going to be the following. It's going to be Alicia, and it's going to be Meilin, and we'll talk the reason why. Okay, so Alicia's is probably the most important one. Number 1, she does have a freeze. She does cause airborne. She does give ice body armor, which is a shield essentially. The freezing obviously is as a crowd control move, and the shield also does 6% of the user's attack, plus it removes debuffs. So that's probably the most pertinent part of this entire thing. So for sure, Alicia is going to be your number 1 ice unit for support. I pretty much use Alicia almost in every single possible category, unless there's a break situation and the boss does 0 levels of debuffs or any type of poisons, etc., right? But if anything has that, she is the MVP for all supports. I consider her probably my most important support in the game, in my opinion. Meilin, I'd say, is probably number 2. The reason why Meilin is so important here is, of course, she does also remove shields, so that's a really, really important one, where you can use her on Vulcan or any type of golem that has a shield. Some of the newer ones have shields, or any level that has, essentially a mob has a shield, she'll instantly remove that shield. She'll also recover 8% of Meilin's max HP back to JINWOO, which is important, of course, and then she also does the Baryon Pumped Up, which increases his user attack by 16% and also decreases the user damage taken by 16%. So I find this one to be easily one of the most most important. You're not using it for DPS, you're using it strictly for the HP recovery, the shield removal, and the damage decrease. So I would definitely find her as number 2. Number 3 is going to be Saw. Obviously, number 3 is actually good because she does do decent damage. She does do a break, and she provides you a very, very hefty shield. The shield, though, is not equaled off of Saw's HP. It's equaled off of JINWOO's HP. So keep that in mind. There's a little bit of a difference there, okay? Some people will give, for example, like right here, you'll see that it gains a shield equal to 6% of the user's attack. This one here, for example, the HP is recovered based on Meilin's HP, not JINWOO's HP, but this shield is based off of JINWOO's HP. So if you're building him low HP, the shield won't last very long, but it is one of the more powerful shields at the 10% mark, okay? A couple honorary mentions here from the SR perspective. Nam does do pretty decent breaks. She also does provide a shield. Anna does do a pretty decent break, but nothing else involved in that. If you're going to use between the two, Nam is a better choice. Johi obviously does a little bit of a heal here and also recovers MP. So if you are looking to get some MP back, she's not a bad option if you're a brand new player. And so she's not bad either. She does a poison, but the main thing for her is she does decrease recovery rate. So if you're fighting like the spider boss and you don't have Cha and they're going up in the air, using this is a great option to stop the recovery from happening as powerful as it is. It'll remove it by 70% at least for 30 whole seconds. So she's actually a pretty damn good one and a great replacement for Cha if you don't have the decreased recovery rate option anywhere else. All right, so keep that in mind. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Last one, 6. Really, at this point in time, I don't think it's as important to have her, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for sure. Those are it right there. Water has a lot of really good elements, so highly recommend using those. All right, moving over now to wind. Wind actually has some really good ones now, finally. So 4 honorable mentions here. We're gonna just go through each one of these ones, okay? So first one I'm gonna say is going to be Park Heejin. The reason why Park is so good here is her support gives you breeze and removes debuffs for all team members. So if you are dealing anyone with poisons, freezes, etc., she's fantastic. It's essentially what Alicia allows you to do. She was the first one to have it. And then also breeze also increases ultimate skill damage by 15%. I think this is one of the best and most underrated support units in the game by far. Next one is going to be Woo. Woo's obviously great because he does a couple different things. He gives you a medium break, but he also recovers your max number of dashes by 2 charges, which is crazy. So if you're using the plum sword or any battle that requires you to dash a lot, he is a no-brainer because he's going to give you back that dash that you need, plus give you that medium break. Mirai's just incredible for one reason and one reason only. She has insane amounts of damage for her support, probably the highest level damage in support in the game. So if you're looking for just pure raw DPS, she's the one to go with. And then Hansimi. Hansimi is actually pretty good. She does a couple different things. She does the same thing as Libora, where she removes debuffs on the ground, so that is something as well. The zone effect also recovers mana by 35 every 3 seconds, and you also gain a shield based on her HP for once every 3 seconds. So very, very powerful skill to keep you alive and give you back a little bit of MP, plus at the same time protect you from any of the harmful things like poisons on the floor, burns on the floor, etc. Right? So those 4 are going to be honorable mentions. Now, the last one here I do want to talk about. He does actually have a heavy break support. He's one of the only ones in the game that does. So if you are fighting Battlefield of Time and you are looking for wind element break damage, he's actually not bad. He will provide you that one thing. This is the only thing he's actually useful for. And the damage he does actually isn't bad too. If you look at it in regards to like damage comparisons, 1099, he does 1431, right? So again, this is level 11, but this is fully maxed out dupe. SR at this point, if you've been playing since day 1, you should have that, but not a bad option. Unfortunately, he sucks, so don't bother using him. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, those are the options right there. If you are looking for wind elemental support, so that covers that. Now, light is one of my favorites. Light is one of my favorites. So I'm going to go through a couple of these guys because they deserve it. So first off, we're going to go with Cha. Cha and Min are two of my favorites. And I'll start off with Cha first because Cha does a couple different things. Number 1, she does knockback and unrecoverable and brand. Unrecoverable is the only skill in the game right now where an opponent cannot heal at 100%. So use that skill if you're looking to fight the spider boss, whoever the case may be, or any boss that does any form of healing like the goblins. This will completely remove that healing for 30 seconds. And brand is important because it increases critical hit rate and critical hit damage by 12%. 50% on the target. Great when you're in the red combat power, or even if you're above the combat power and you're just trying to hit that 100% mark, plus increase your crit damage. So my favorite personally is going to be hers. Second in line is going to be Min. Min's amazing here because Min also does a couple different things. He recovers HP, plus that's punishment where the opponent takes 15% damage for 20 whole seconds, which is incredible. Now again, not used for DPS purposes, just for the support. Third up is going to be Gun He now. Gun He actually does a pretty decent medium break, plus also provides you guys with defense increase, plus gives a shield based on Sun Jinwoo's defense, and also increases your light damage. So this is amazing if you are going to be using this for light defense, light skills and light weapons. So I would choose Min, him, and then Cha if you were going to go in that order. If you're not using light weapons, I will go Cha, Min, and Gun He. So those are the three main ones you would use at all times. Beck isn't bad. Actually, Beck will do a defense down by 20%, so even better than Choi's. It also does a medium break, so he's also very, very powerful. Don't ignore him. Support-wise, he's actually really good. He might not be the greatest unit anymore, but he does provide you guys quite a bit of power to use there, okay? Now, in regards to a couple honorable mentions here, just so you guys are aware, JINWOO actually does provide a potion here that will recover your HP, plus give you extra buff based on how many skills you've had him. So if you have him at A5, you'll actually get all these extra bonus skills with the attack power increase, HP recovery, and a shield. So that potion can actually do quite a bit for you based on how far you have him. Kim Chul's actually not bad either. He does impenetrable, creates a shield by 40% of the user's defense, plus gives you guys the medium break. The worst one here is going to be Joe, unfortunately. You don't want to use him. He just does a burn. So really the SRs here are actually not bad for breakers. Great for BOT content, Battlefield of Time, but if you're going to use just any form of breakers, you use these two. But Light has probably the most diverse breakers in the game right now for support, so highly recommend them. And then lastly, Dark. This is interesting. Dark has good and bad. Dark has some very powerful, as a matter of fact. So let's go through Dark. And the only one I'm missing here is Harper, and I will go through Harper's real quick first because she is in the draw right now, but let's go over her support and you guys can kind of see what she's all about. Okay, so let's go to skills, her support right here. Okay, so 300% HP at max level, of course. Oh no, sorry, level 1. If I go max, it's right here, 616. So she does do one thing. She will do a medium break, and then she does paralyze. Paralyze essentially is your stun, which will stop the opponent from casting anything for 3 whole seconds. So very, very strong, especially if you're timing things, getting a break off, and at the same time, if you're interrupting any big skills. Very powerful. I would consider one of the best Dark support skills in the game, by far, okay? Now, let's go over to the newest character, Harper. Now, Harper, she really doesn't bring much outside of 2 things. It's just all DPS. It's all Dark DPS, right? So where Mireille has the highest DPS for support, she isn't too bad herself. She does 1,733, deals dark damage, and then at the same time, she'll base it off of the user's defense, okay? So in this case, when the doll explodes, she'll also do 350% extra damage based on Charlotte's defense. So that damage is not bad. It's exactly like Isla's dance. Exactly. Like there's no difference except for if you have A1, I think you add an extra dark element to it. But that's about it, right? So DPS purposes, she's great. Now, the 2 best supports in this entire section are going to be not the 2 I just mentioned. It's actually going to be Lee Bora and SM Beck. SM Beck actually I think is one of the best ones in the game, period, because it increases the user's attack by 20 whole percent and then increases the damage you take though by 10%. So there's a give and a take, but the highest level of attack increase comes from him. So this is one of my favorites, and it's only 15 seconds. It's a duration of 15 seconds. The cooldown is 25, so you can cast this every 10 seconds yourself. So not a bad option. Lee Bora is my second favorite here because of the charmed effect that she has. Number 1, she will remove all debuffs on the floor. Same with Hansi Mi. And then the charm here is great because she'll increase all damage you do to opponents by 15% for 15 seconds. Now this is an AoE, by the way, so it's like multiple targets, not just one. Great on bosses, great on mobs, incredible support. So I would go 1-2 or 1-2. All right. Next up, it's going to be actually Lim, believe it or not. If you are a core user, he increases the user's core attack by 15%. Amazing to use with the Phoenix bow, for example, or anything that requires a core attack to be maximized. So the Phoenix bow really comes to mind as the biggest one, and also provides a medium break. So this is a great skill to use when you're using the proper weapons. And honestly, not to diminish these 2 here, they actually have pretty good uses. So first off, this guy here will provide you with a stun, also increasing your max HP by 20% for 15 seconds. An incredibly powerful breaker as well. So if you are lacking a breaker, if you don't have Harper, he's actually a shoe-in for that. If you don't have Lim either, actually, he's fantastic. He keeps you alive. That stun is incredible. It'll interrupt anything that happens. There's no diminishing effects on it, plus increasing your attack or your HP to give you more survivability. One of the most underrated supports in the game by far. And then there's Kang. Kang will actually be great if you only the opponent bleeds. If you have a bleeding effect where you want to actually have bleed on the opponent and they are susceptible to it, having him is not a bad choice. But if you want to go for the top ones, I go 1, 2, Harper, then 3, then Charlotte, then Lim, and then this dude here. All right, there you guys go. That covers every single support unit in the game in my favorite categories or my favorite units in each game for JINWOO. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Thank you for watching. Remember, guys, merch is available. DM me in Discord and I will let you know all the pricing and how you can get yourself some of this limited stuff. All right, guys, thank you again. See you guys in the next one. Take care.